Yeah, my mic stand broke minutes before filming my first video, so we're off to a great start. Picture this, okay? It's November, you're in 4th grade, it's like 6:40 in the morning because that's when elementary school starts, and your teacher delivers you the news. The Scholastic Book Fair is coming to town. Oh yeah. That's right, baby. For only a short amount of time, your elementary school's library is going to be turned into a child with no idea of monetary values wonderland. I think we all knew when it came to the Scholastic Book Fair, I mean, they were talking the big leagues of swag, okay, people? You got, the Guinness Book of World Records. You got Smensels. You got, for the ladies, you got these diaries with this cheap plastic lock that your parents 100% were going to find a way to get into, which would then lead to a really awkward conversation that would absolutely scar you for, I don't know, a couple decades. But what's over there? Oh, it's the year 2007. And a hit graphic novel is hitting the shelves across the nation and is selling more and more copies than the Holy Bible, people. I'm talking Diary of a Wimpy Kid. A book that certainly won't have 16 sequels over the next 17 years. And also, fun fact, out of all 17 of the books, 9 of them apparently are #1 New York Times bestsellers, and the last 3 apparently have sold over 775 million copies. So I think it's safe to say that the Swifties have absolutely nothing when it comes to the Heffley Army. But in all seriousness, the Scholastic Book Fair was a huge event, I think, for a lot of us. And there were numerous things that you can get at this event that were both, educational or had absolutely nothing to do with education. But truthfully, when it comes to the Scholastic Book Fair, I think a lot of us have this heavy sense of nostalgia that's tied with it. And I'm certainly reminded of it at least twice a week when I'm scrolling through TikTok and I come across those videos where it's like 2000s kids will remember this from elementary school, and you got the Christmas party, the Thanksgiving hand turkeys, and of course the Scholastic Book Fair, which is an essential reminder to not only me, but apparently everyone in the comments, that this event that happened just a few days out of our school year every year for a very short amount of time is that of a distant memory. And now we have bigger things to worry about, like jobs and bills, crippling depression. But this actually got me thinking onto the sense of, how did this event become such a core sense of nostalgia for so many people, not just where I'm from? Everyone across the US had a Scholastic Book Fair come to their elementary school, middle school, or public library in the area. So I wanted to look a little deeper. I was curious onto how this event even became as big as it is today, and how it's probably transformed in some directions over the years because technology. And lastly, I wanted to look more into, does everyone have the same sense of nostalgia, or is this just something for a certain amount of people while others not so much? So come along with me as we dive into the history of the Scholastic Book Fair and where it is today. The year is 1981. Ronald Reagan was fresh into the Oval Office, but he was already prepping the absolute drippiest frat boy merch for his next run. And Scholastic has already been in business for 61 years. But this year is special because this is the year Scholastic makes a historic decision that will bring them in a lot of money. This is the year where Scholastic purchases a regional book fair promoter, California Schools Book Fair. And the plan is simple. Scholastic would deliver these books and merchandise to wherever the site would be, aka schools, public libraries, you name it, and they would have volunteers set up the event and take it down, while the school or the library or wherever would get about a 20 to 33% of gross revenue. And for many, that is a pretty fair exchange of services. You have, Scholastic with the books, the school getting money from it, and the kids coming home with books in their bags. Books that would receive maybe an hour of attention, then would eventually end up at your local half-price books. RIP to a real homie. Over the years, this model would actually prove to be successful. Like, very successful. But of course, this growth didn't come without critics. Many were actually concerned about the things that were on the shelves, because sure, there were books out there that held some sort of educational value that would push kids to further their reading abilities. Like for my generation's example, you got Junie B. Jones, the Magic Tree House, and of course, Goosebumps. But what about these things? They're not teaching any. they're not teaching anything. Like honestly, what am I supposed to learn from Arcade Claw Machine? Gambling? However, Scholastic did state that these hosts do have the option to not display these products on their shelves. But why would these hosts not do that when they know that 10 out of 10 times when Lil Timmy's coming in with $10, he's going to use about 5 of that on wacky erasers or Smensels or Spy Gear or an arcade claw machine or anything that doesn't have anything to do with educational value, and the school's going to make money off of them? Why would they not display these things? Have you seen the American education system lately? Have you taken a gander? It ain't pretty. Have you seen school lunches post the Obama administration? It ain't pretty. Nonetheless, Scholastic over the years acquired more and more and more of these book fair promoters and eventually became the giant they are today, hosting, get this, 120,000 book fairs a year with millions of child customers coming into their libraries each and every year. That's a lot of wacky erasers. But enough about this. I think what we're all actually curious about is, oh my God! One thing to keep in mind about these early 2000s years is, although the internet has been around, we were still getting used to some things like smartphones. The first iPhone wasn't even released until 2007. And when it comes to paying with our phones, digital wallets weren't even a normal thing that people just did until the late 2010s. Back then, the transactional process was pretty simple for kids in the Scholastic Book Fair. Parent would give you cash, you take cash to book fair, you give book fair cash for useless thing or maybe a book, and that was that. So what does it look like today? Well, what if I told you that we have technology? And don't think that little book company hasn't noticed. Okay, cool. We have phones now. What's your point? Well, what if I told you you can go to these things with digital money? Introducing the e-wallet. But what is this revolutionary step in idiotic trust with kids and money? Well, I'm glad you asked. Now, of course, you can still give your kid cash and let them go to the book fair with that. That is still fully acceptable. But why trust your kid with cash when they could lose it or spend it on something else on the way to the book fair, or I don't know, any excuse a child has as to why their money wasn't used at the book fair, the thing you gave them the money for? So let's look at a little bit about what this e-wallet actually is and how the transactional process works through there. Step 1, create an account for your little angel. Step 2, share this account with not just mom, not just dad, not just grandma or grandpa or brother or sister or distant relative and fighting across the seas. Share this account with anyone, because the more the merrier, and hey, you might just get more money that you can spend on useless things. And lastly, step 3, Spend that hard-earned moolah you made in your digital wallet. Okay, cool. I made this wallet for my kid. We filled it up with money. They went to the book fair. They spent 15 out of the $20 that I put in the wallet. Can I get that $5 back? No, you can't. That's Scholastic's money now, you silly goose, because with the e-wallet, your money stays in this wallet
forever.
Forever?
Forever.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. And honestly, it's not a shocker to me that a digital wallet's not gonna give you your money back. But what kind of rubs me the wrong way is this line.
The gift of reading is much better than a pair of socks.
As if the kids want books under their shelves. Parents, bring it in. Your kid doesn't want a book for Christmas. They want the Guinness Book of World Records. But one thing I think is quite obvious when it comes to the dangers of this e-wallet is that kids can be little rascals. I think we've all seen those videos on YouTube where kid steals mommy's credit card and goes and spends $500 on V-Bucks so their Fortnite skin is popping off and they can get those victory royales in style. I don't think it's any different with the Scholastic Book Fair. What's going to stop a random 7-year-old from waiting till midnight to walk into their parents' room, steal their mom's purse, open up the purse and find their credit card, put the credit card information in their e-wallet, and then load up their e-wallet with God knows how much money? And mommy ain't getting that money back. So I think, in my opinion, and you can tell me otherwise, I don't think this is the right way to do it. And I'm gonna be the boomer for the first time saying some things should just, I don't know, stay the way they are, because Scholastic was still making plenty of money from just cash. So overall, as you can see, there really isn't that much of a big difference when it comes to the looks of the Scholastic Book Fair. The main difference is they do digital payments now, which is, in my opinion, an incredibly stupid thing to do, because kids don't understand money, as we've figured out many times. But I also think it's important to take a step back and examine the book fair, because we're adults now and we have much better perception, and we can probably understand now why our parents were really never big fans of the book fair in the first place. For many people, especially in the years 2007 to 2010, were focused on bigger things happening in society and had things to pay for that were essential, like food or bills or keeping a roof over them in their families' heads. Things that had value to them. And I'm not saying Smencils don't have value. They were traded like things in the black market at my elementary school. For many, this could have easily been a first instance in their whole life where they realized that their families were not as financially stable as their other friends, and might have even created a first instance of realizing what social classes are in society. So I wanted to end the video with these final remarks. The Scholastic Company is not an evil entity that's out to steal all the money of America. It's a company in America that's called capitalism. What I believe is important is there are benefits of this event. As said earlier, these schools get 20 to 33% of the profits, and those funds can be used for things to fix conditions that are within their own facilities that they might not have been able to treat prior to hosting this book fair. And also, many children do purchase the books at the book fair. There's a reason why 99% of the shelf space at these things have the books. And those books alone can carry heavy nostalgia for many of us, like for me when it comes to Goosebumps or The Magic Treehouse. But what we should be mindful of after examining everything we talked about today is that for many things, including the Scholastic Book Fair, there can be a hard division line when it comes to some have heavy nostalgic values and some see it in a completely opposite direction. That alone can be a great conversation piece, as it was for me and my friends talking about elementary school memories and what we perceive the book fair to be. So at the end of the day, Scholastic is not a bad company. The book fair is not an evil, malicious event. If you have the funds to give your kids some money to, enjoy themselves at the book fair within a reasonable funds amount and not this digital wallet stuff, then do so. I should probably add at some point that this is my first video, and if you liked what you saw here, maybe you should subscribe. And I also stream on Twitch 3 days out of the week. The link is here, or it'll be down here in the description. If you want to go check that out, stop on by. We'll be streaming Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, doing a whole lot of nothing. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.